Alright, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So this took a little bit longer than I would have liked to have gotten out, but better late than never. So as you can probably have told from the title already, we're about to dive into the first couple of chapters of Lazarus. So the version I'm reading from has the first complete collection, which I think collects issues 1 to 9 or so. So no idea how volume chapters are going to be split. So like typical videos, I'll try to go for at least an hour or so and see how many chapters that covers. So I guess a quick little peek at the prologue or the blurb before we dive into it for anyone that is not familiar with the series or what it's about. So we have in a dystopian near future, government is a quaint concept. Resources are coveted and possession is 100% of the law. A handful of families rule, jealously guarding what they have and exploiting the waste who struggle to survive in their domains. Forever Carlyle defends her family's holdings through deception and force as their protector, their Lazarus. Shot dead defending the family home, Forever's day goes downhill from there. So just from reading this, I'm already super excited to dive into it. So the first couple of pages seems to have a map with all the different families that rule over the different areas. I'm not going to get into too much detail on which ones are which. I'm sure that'll become relevant later. So we have written by Greg Rucka, art and letters by Michael Lark with Brian Level and production assistance, and letters by Jody Wynn with colors by Santi Arcas. I'm not going to go over the introduction either, but we're going to have straight into family, chapter 1, as we have catalog of trauma as follows. Bullet 1, ventral dorsal traverse entering 8th interspace on rising trajectory. Round, fragmented, compounded fracture of the rib at penetration site. Round exited 4th interspace right dorsal. Bullets 2 and 3 following similar trajectory, with the second puncturing the right lung and the third an intraclavicular penetration with corresponding scapular exit. Result, hypovolemic decompensation with corresponding respiratory collapse due to impaired lung function and inadequate perfusion. So we see this really scruffy looking guy firing off a couple of quick rounds from his gun, and someone's just getting shot as they're falling backwards. And you see he's covered up, the scruffy looking guy has some mooks with him. One's wielding what looks like a sledgehammer, a couple with swords, as you see, or according to telemetry, down and dying. And you see a woman that's just been shot full of bullet holes, splayed out on the ground, blood everywhere as they're advancing on her. As you have, now the question, how long were you out? And you hear, not sure, a minute, maybe 2. And you see as they get closer, they see that she's down, they're walking away, and as they do, her eyes just jolt open. And you have, I get disoriented, you know that. And it hurts. God, but it always hurts. It's like I'm not in myself when it happens, like I'm outside, watching myself through glass. And you see her trying to slowly get up and pull herself to her knees. As you have interesting, possibly a result of the endorphin dump interacting with the fight or flight IPS release. Alright, what happened next? You know what happened next, James. And you have, I want to hear from you, Eve. I'm asking you what you did, what you felt. And they go, I don't like talking about it. I don't want to talk about it. Please, James, don't make me talk about it. And he's like, that's not a choice, I'm afraid. I have to know. And you see the woman kind of just slowly pulling herself up, hand to her guts, as she starts stalking the men through the hallways. And you have Eve, it's like your family has to know. And you see them having broken into what looks like the pantry, and they're drinking and guzzling down food. So a woman comes in behind them, and no one's noticed. And as the guy that pulled the gun on her notices her after he's taking a chunk out of his bread, he tries to go for his gun as she rushes him. Oh, and she grabs his hand as he's pulling like this and just snaps it at the elbow to break his arm, grabs his head, twists, breaks his neck. One of the other guys tries to lunge and stab at her. She dodges it. And he does a few more stabs. She dodges. And you see one of the men coming from behind with a sledgehammer held over her. She dodges out of the way, the guy takes another stab, and he ends up slapping Sledgehammer Dude right in the chest. And as he does that, she grabs his arms by the wrist and kind of flips it up, and as he's struggling with it, she grabs his other arm and forces him to stab himself with a blade. And you see, I killed him, James, as you see her just looking down at the carnage as she's taking these 3 men down. And you go, I killed all 3 of them. They only wanted something to eat. And you see now that they're in a doctor's office, and I assume this is Forever Carlisle, is sitting on the edge of the doctor's bed as they're finishing it up. And you can see a little graphical display on the computer screen as the doctor goes, the family provides food for all citizens, as you know. If they're documented residents of the domain, they receive their allowance. They broke into a family residence, forever unused, yes, but family property. They picked a low security location. They came armed, and then they tried to kill you. Have you considered what would have happened if you hadn't been the one to encounter them? If they'd run into your siblings, or God forbid your parents? He takes a little injection gun and shoots something into her arm as he goes, we're lucky it was you. And she looks down and she goes, maybe. He goes, you can put your shirt on. And you can see, Marty in love with her. She's got these rippling abs, super muscular looking. Definitely have a type, and this is ticking off a lot of boxes for me. And the doctor goes, James goes, you can put your shirt on. And Eve's like, James? He's like, And she goes, does everyone feel like this? When they have to kill someone, I mean, this is normal, right? To feel like this? And he goes, no, Eve, they don't. Don't let it worry you. I'll give you something to help with it. We have to follow up on the platelet therapy after you and Jonah finish up at Harvest 1. I'll give you something then, alright? And Eve goes, you won't tell them what we talked about, will you, James? Father or Jonah or anyone? And James goes, of course not. I would never betray your confidence, I promise you. And you see Central California, the San Joaquin Valley, facility, Harvest 1, family Carlisle. So you see a bunch of harvesting machines digging through the to the farming field. And you see a bunch of workers working away as well. As you have population, family, 2 temporary, population served 512. And you have physically she's fine, a full recovery, precisely as designed. It's her emotional state that I'm worried about, of course. James is going to sell her out. You have population waste, 32,500 estimated. And you see someone in a black SUV surrounded by armed guards with a tank behind him going, as James continues, she's asking some problematic questions. And you have, again, we're supposed to take care of that, James. And he goes, I'm including another oxycodone bumper with a blood spin, but it needs to be reinforced this time, Jonah. It won't work if there's no one for her to bond with. And Jonah goes, show her some love, you mean? And James goes, exactly. And you see one of the armed escorts outside going, sir, your sister has arrived. And Jonah goes, thank you. And you have no time like the James goes, no time like the present. And Jonah goes, I'll do my part. You just make sure that bumper does its job. We can't have her getting ideas. And you see a helicopter setting down outside the... looks basically pretty much like a prison. So you see outside the Carlisle Fortress Plantation, what was it called? Yeah, Harvest 1 facilities. Basically looks like a jail. You see these concrete walls with like the little watchtowers spaced out every few feet. And the helicopter lands outside, where it looks like they've blown open a hole inside one of the walls to breach it. There's smoke trailing out from inside. And as Eve steps out of the Carlisle chopper, she's greeted by the soldiers who all salute, and someone goes, forever. And you have Jonah walking up to her going, I heard about what happened at the guest house. Thank God you're all right. And she comes up and goes, I'm fine. I'm so sorry I'm late, Jonah. I had to go up to Sequoia to see James for treatment. I tried to explain you needed me here. He kind of shushes her and is like, shush, forever, shush, none of that. I'm just glad you're okay, as he goes in for a hug. And he goes, you sure you're up to this? And Forever goes, I go where my family needs me. And Jonah goes, "That's my sister," as he starts walking away. And you hear, "Miss Carlyle, Commander, I'm glad to see you're all right." It's like, "Thank you, Sergeant Orioso. Your report, if you please." And you see inside the compound they have a bunch of bodies laid out under sheets. And you hear, "Yes, ma'am. At 03:22 this morning, Moray Family Forces launched an assault on this facility. We had no warning, nothing prior on radar or thermal. No idea how they got so close to the walls undetected. The entire grid went dark during the attack. The whole security network simply collapsed." And you see them going inside looking at these lock boxes with names on them. As you have, they push straight for the cold storage, straight for the seed vaults. We barely stopped them in time. And you see inside the seed vault a bunch of men have been shot and there's blood splattered everywhere. And as Forever comes out, she goes, "You ran diagnostics?" And the soldier goes, "As soon as we could, ma'am. There's no sign of a system fault." And Jonah goes, "Which means it was shut down, not sabotaged, not hacked. Which in turn means we've been betrayed." And the soldier goes, "Ma'am, forgive me for asking this, but we heard what happened to you. Do you think the assault on you?" And Forever goes, "I don't think I was attacked by waste, not soldiers. We're positive it was Moray." And the soldier goes, "We took one alive." She goes, "I want to talk to him." And Jonah goes, "Her, actually, and you can't. She didn't survive interrogation." Jonah goes, "They came for the grain, Forever. They practically walked in through the door. A door one of our people opened for them. The only people who could have opened the vault are senior technical staff. Or one of us," Forever responds. And Jonah goes, "You're not seriously accusing one of our family?" And she's like, "Of course not. I just don't want to jump to any conclusions." And Jonah goes, "We've been betrayed, Forever. And you know what Father would demand of you if he was here. We have to send a message. Your soldiers died here. You know what you have to do. You know what's expected of you." And they have a stare off as Forever's obviously unhappy with these orders. And she turns around and goes, "Sergeant Orioso, please assemble the senior technical staff in the courtyard, as well as their families." And you see the soldiers all gathering them outside as Forever stands at the front doors. And cheer, "All present and accounted for, ma'am." And Forever goes, "I beg you to listen to me carefully. In light of last night's attack, we have concluded that someone within the facility was in collusion with Moray forces. Someone who had clearance to disable the security on the cold vaults. One of you. My father's policy regarding betrayal is unequivocal on the matter, as you know. He requires an example must be made. A confession will spare your families and your colleagues. But if no one claims responsibility for this act of treason, I have no choice but to execute all of you to serve as a warning to others." And you see that her looking out at all of them as they're all silent. And no one says anything, and Jonah goes, "Fine, Sergeant, line them." And Forever goes, "Wait." And she looks back and goes, "Please." And you see an older gentleman going, "Me. I did it. It was me." And his daughter goes, "Dad, don't." She goes, "You be quiet, Caddy. You let this be what this will be." And he walks up to her and goes, I did it, you understand? It was me." And Jonah goes, "You've done the right thing coming forward." He goes, "Forever, you know what to do." The guards escort everyone else away as Forever takes out her gun. The man just standing there kind of silently with his arms crossed as he goes, "One in the back of the head, I think. Quick and painless, or so I hear." And Forever goes, "I'm sorry, it isn't. I speak from some experience." The man goes, "So it's true what they say about you, Forever Carlyle? The Lazarus? Well, then I suppose you would at that." And then Forever goes, "I think you're lying, sir." And he goes, "Does it matter?" And she goes, "Of course it matters. It matters if you're innocent. It matters if there's still a traitor in our house. Why would you throw your life away?" And he goes, "You, your brother, you're kind. You talk a lot about family. If that word meant anything to you, you'd know the answer already." And Forever, as he turns around, Forever puts a gun to his head and goes, "Your daughter. I'll tell her you love her." And she goes, "Trust me, Miss Carlyle. She knows." And you see later that night as we hear, "There we go, done." Forever's gone back for a checkup with James. And he goes, "You'll have some tingling for the next hour or so. Nothing to worry about." And he goes, "I heard about the unpleasantness at Harvest 1. You did what you had to do for your family. You know that, of course. But in light of our talk this morning, I have to ask Eve, how are you feeling?" She goes, "Fine, James. I feel fine." As we get to the end of chapter 1 and we have into chapter 2, family. So we have Puget Sound, family Carlisle. As we have, "Forever, I've got your regimen laid out." And we see population, family, 6, 2 permanent. And you have, "I'll take them later." And you hear, "No." And you see another injection gun on the table with a bunch of other pills laid out. As whoever it is says, "You'll take them now, little sister. What if James and I told you about messing with our maintenance schedule?" And you see Forever just gotten out of the shower. She goes, "I hate it when you call it that. Makes me feel like a machine." And you see the other doctor, James's sister, I assume, James's sister, doing a little x-ray. She's checking Forever's stats. And she goes, "Come here, let's take a look at you." And you see, again, diagrams looking at her lungs, her skeleton structure, and everything else, pulling up a bunch of diagnostics. And she goes, "No residual pain?" And Forever goes, "No, Beth." "Problem breathing, soreness?" Like, "No, Beth." "Pain in motion?" "No, Beth." And Beth goes, "Dizziness, any oral discomfort, tinnitus like that?" "No, Beth." And you can see them having kind of a stare off before Beth injects her with her injection. And as she leaves, Beth goes, "Get dressed. Pills are on the dresser. Father wants you in the study in 5 minutes for your report." And you see, as they're in the study, in this very nice looking library with the Forever family crest on the mantle, bookcases on both sides of the fireplace, glass windows on one side. You have, "There's nothing to discuss, Stephen. Moray attacked us in our territory. We're already at war with them, whether Father wants to acknowledge it or not." And you have Stephen going, "We'll see what he says." As Jonah goes, "You really don't have a thought in your head. You haven't run past the old man first, do you, Steve?" And Steve goes, "Fuck you, Jonah. You think I don't know what you and Joanna are up to in LA? And I mean everything you two are up to." And Jonah goes, "You say another word and I will break your fucking neck." And you hear, "That's enough. I don't know what it's about and I don't care." And you see, you see this fancy guy with a sweater wrapped around his neck, accompanied by Beth as he walks in. And "We have a serious matters to discuss, and I will not have my sons acting like they're 6 instead of 60. Am I understood?" And you have both Jonah and Steve going, "Yes, sir." And you have the stranger asking Beth, "Where's your sister?" And she goes, "Forever will be here short." And he goes, "Not the Lazarus. Joanna, where is she, Jonah?" And Jonah goes, She thought she should stay at the Palisades residence, sir, in case Moray tried to start anything with the waste." And the father goes, "You tell her that the next time I call a family meeting, it includes her, unless she no longer wishes to be a Carlisle. Where the hell is Eve?" You see Forever walking in going, "Here, father." He goes, Good girl. All of you give your little sister your attention." And you see Forever pulling up a hologram and she goes, "At 03:22 hours yesterday morning, a Moray strike team assaulted Harvest 1. They evaded early warning systems and breached the compound before an alarm could be raised. Sergeant Oriosa mustered a defense and repelled the assault. Their objective was the seed vaults." And you see a schematic of the facility, which looks very similar to Resident Evil. If anyone remembers the Resident Evil movies, when they did the holographic projection showing you what Raccoon City looks like. The projection of Harvest 1 looks exactly the same kind of layout. And you see Forever going, "Carlisle losses, our losses were substantial." And you have, "Please continue, Forever." And she goes, "Yes, sir. This man, Samuel Rosales, confessed to disabling security and claimed he was an agent of family Moray. Following his execution for treason, his belongings were confiscated and the lodging where he lived with his daughter, one of the staff researchers, searched. I can find no evidence as to how he was recruited by Moray, nor how he communicated with them. And you have the father going, thank you forever. Thoughts? And you have Beth asking, what do we know about the daughter? And you have forever going, Katie Rosales, born early 30s, tested in 41, scored high for technical aptitude and mean intelligence. Subsequently lifted and sent for education at Stanford. Trained in biotechnology, specifically agricultural genetics. Assigned to Harvest 1 last year. Nothing else of note, no reprimands, no cautions, and no indications of subversive leanings. And you see Beth going, Stanford, that's why I know the name. And you have Steve going, he broke off trade with Moray 5 years ago, and the word is their harvests have suffered ever since, and that they're having trouble controlling their waste. It's certainly plausible they would go after our seeds. And you have Jonah going, that's not plausible, Steve, it's certain. He goes, their soil is fallow, it's fucking dead without our strain to grow in it. Look, we know who did it, we know why they did it. The only question is what we're going to do in response. And the father asks him, what do you think we should do, Jonah? And he says, go to war. And he's silent for a minute as he goes, all of you leave, forever remain. And you see all the children walking out, and you see Jonah giving forever a look as he walks out, saying, don't you, looks basically saying, don't you dare, what the hell is the word I'm looking for? Yeah, don't you dare, basically undercut me. As the father gets up from his seat and goes, you don't believe Samuel Rosales' confession, do you? And she goes, no, sir. And he goes, yet you executed him for treason. Why did you do that? And forever looks away as the father asks, forever, I asked you a question, young lady. And she goes, I didn't want to. And he goes, but you did it and I want to know why. Did it feel good? Did you like it? Did you want to see him bleed? Did it make you feel strong, killing an unarmed old man? Forever's like, I had no reason. I had to. Treason means death. Jonah made me. He was going to execute everyone if he didn't get a confession. And see the father turning away as he goes to the window and he goes, oh, Jonah, you foolish boy. And he and Forever silent for a minute before the father goes, 5 children or only one of them is worth a damn. He goes, come here, Eve. He's kind of gently clasps her hand. He goes, there's something your father needs you to do for our family, or for your family. And you see in the kitchen, Beth, Jonah, and Steve are hanging out as Jonah goes, how long is she going to be in there with him? This is family business. She shouldn't even be in there. She's not even his real daughter. She's just... And you have Beth going, you shut your fucking mouth, Jonah. You don't say it. You don't even think it. Anywhere she could possibly hear. Do you know what happens if she learns what she really is? The questions she'll start to ask? And you have Jonah going, so she learns the truth and then she goes, bug fuck crazy, big deal. We put her down. Then you and James play hide the pipette for a while and make us another one. And she goes, I'll fucking kill you. She just grabs his balls and squeezes like, ugh. And she just grabs him, slams his head into the counter. And she goes, you miserable little abortion. You malignant piece of shit. He goes, it's a crazy bitch, let go. And she grabs a knife from nearby and says, I will flay you open, I will. He's like, let me up, let me. He's like, drink every worthless drop of your blood. And Steve's like, Beth, knock it off. And he comes and takes her off with Jonah. He sees crazy little... He goes, keep her away from me. And you see a maid coming into the room with some refreshments. And Jonah looks at her and goes, what do you want? And she's like, I'm sorry, sir, your mother. And he knocks the tray aside and goes, get out. As he's kind of just recovering. And you have Beth going, take your hands off me, Stephen. And you see as the door opens again, Jonah goes, I told you to get out, you feeted. And you see Forever standing there. And she goes, Father wants to speak with you in the study, Stephen. Bethany, he says you're free to get back to your work with Dr. Mann, or if you're needed at the university, whichever you desire. And then she looks at Jonah and goes, I'm to accompany you back to Los Angeles. We're to leave immediately. And Jonah's like, what, with me? she's gonna kill him. And he goes, does this mean he's decided we're gonna war against Moray? And Forever just says we're to leave immediately. And you see Los Angeles, family Carlisle, population family 3-2 permanent. And you should have repaired more after the earthquake. And you see population surf 322,274. Population waste 2,874,500 estimated. And you can see Los Angeles looks like a slum city. The Hollywood signs collapsed, and the only signs left up spell out hood. And you see slum cities everywhere. You see bridges are in total disarray. Cities seeing better days. As you have your domain looks like a war zone, Jonah. And Jonah's traveling through the city in his black SUVs with the military escort as he has. We rebuilt what the family needs. There's no point in wasting resources on those who can't appreciate, on waste who can't appreciate it. What did you and Father talk about? And you see Forever go, and he's asked me to do something for our family. And you see later that night as Joanna, sure, I'm in the bath. And you see Jonah walking into his wife in the bath, and she's having a nice bubble bath, and she goes, do my back. It's like, why is she here, Jonah? And he goes, I don't know, and she won't tell me. And Joanna goes, what do you mean she won't? She doesn't have a choice. It's in her fucking genes to do what we want. And Jonah goes, Father must have ordered her not to tell anyone, not even other family. And Joanna goes, I don't like that. And Jonah goes, he asked why you weren't at the meeting. I told him you're worried about security following the Moray attack. And she goes, he didn't believe you. And he goes, no, he said you couldn't be bothered. And Joanna goes, that's what the old fool thinks of me fine. Forever is the problem right now, not him. We're going to need to keep an eye on her. Find out why the little perversion is here, how much she knows. Father's suspicious. And he's like, shh, Joe, I've got Mason watching her. It's all under control. And you see Forever walking through the city. And you see this bald guy just tailing her from behind as she's walking through the slum areas. And you see Forever just handing a note to some little kids. And you see the guy watching her, Mason watching her. And after she walks off, he comes up to the kids and takes the note. And as he goes around the corner, he finds out that he's lost and he can't see her. He goes, oh no. Where'd you go, you bitch? And as he opens the note, he sees Mason, if you keep following me, I'm going to kill you. And he just looks in shock. As you see outside the city in a Sonoran Desert, Mexico, family Moray, you see Forever's on a bike. She comes to a stop on the highway as you see population family 1. And you have your father is very stupid or very bold. Population surf 36. And you see another man in a black trench coat with a katana at his waist and a bunch of military forces surrounding him as he goes, to send his Lazarus to us like this doesn't really matter. You are now a prisoner of family Moray forever. And you have the Moray family Lazarus, I assume, surrounding her along with his soldiers as we get to the end of chapter 2, start of chapter 3. And we have Magdalena, Mexico, family Moray. And you have, you will surrender your weapons and submit to a search. You have population family 1. And Forever goes, I will not. And they go, you will surrender your weapons and submit to a search. And you see population surf 22, population waste 12,782. The soldiers go, or you will be restrained and we will do it by force. Forever's like, try it. And then the soldier goes, hold her and don't be gentle about it. Much as it would amuse me to see the attempt, the other Lazarus walks in and goes, I would advise against trying to place an uninvited hand on Miss Carlisle. She is our guest here for now, and we will accord her the courtesy she is due. And you have Mr. Moray, your uncle's orders were very clear on this matter. The capture of an identified enemy Lazarus is of the highest priority. She's a prisoner, not a guest. And you have Mr. Moray going, he's arguing with me, as Forever goes, yes, he is. And he goes, then by all means, Sergeant, do your duty. And the Sergeant comes up and goes, your gun. And Forever hands it over and goes, fine. And your blade. And she goes, no. So he pulls the gun on her and goes, your blade. And Forever just kind of looks over at Mr. Moray and just kind of cocks an eyebrow. And she looks back as he goes, your blade. And she just whips out the sword and chops off his gun hand before he can even finish saying blade. And sheathes it back and she's like, no. And you see him starting to scream. He's like, oh, it's like, mother of God, my arm. Oh, God. She goes, you are waist raised to service. Mr. Moray comes up and goes, you are waist raised to service, but you challenge my authority in front of your men? I am the Moray Lazarus. I am the arm of my family, and your ambition, Sergeant, outweighed your sense. And he takes out his sword and cuts his arm off, and he points, or cuts his head off, sorry, and points to one of the others and goes, you are now elevated to the rank of sergeant. Get this cleaned up and prepare for inspection. My uncle will be arriving soon. And as he walks away with Forever, he goes, Forever, might I offer you some refreshment? And she goes, that would be lovely. Thank you, Hakeem. And you see Compound Sequoia, Family Carlisle, as you hear, don't give me that bullshit, James. Population Family 1, Population Serve 24. As you see Jonas called up James and goes, you track her all the time. Jesus, you and Beth never shut up about Forever's telemetry and shit like that. And James goes, I didn't say I'm not tracking her, Jonah. I said I can't tell you where she is. And Jonah goes, you can't tell me? You fucking work for me. And he goes, I work for the family, Jonah. And Jonah goes, it was my father, wasn't it? He told you not to tell me. And James is like, I have work to do. Jonah goes, the old man's not going to be around forever, James. You might want to think about that, as he cuts off the call. And you see, as James is going to work away on his computer, he goes, call Malcolm Carlisle. And you hear, yes, James? And he goes, hello, sir. I have the telemetry update for you. Eve's been taken to the Moray outpost in Magdalena. Vitals are nominal. And he goes, very good. And James goes, sir, Jonah just contacted me. He wants to know where she is. And the father goes, what did you say? And James says that I couldn't tell him. He wasn't happy. And he's silent for a moment. He's listening to hear what the father says as he goes, continue hourly updates on my daughter, James. Excuse me. And he goes, yes, sir. And you see that Forever and Hakeem are sitting outside on this little terrace enjoying some papaya as Hakeem cuts off a piece and goes, can you eat this? I ask because I assume your diet is restrictive, yes? And Forever goes, I can, thank you. She takes the piece from him. And he's watching, as he's watching her eat, he goes, guava? And she goes, are you having any? And Joaquin goes, I'm not poisoning you, you have my word. And she goes, I didn't think you were, Joaquin. And he goes, the enzymes interfere with my implants. I'm trying to remember the last time we met. And Forever goes, when the talks broke down 5 years ago. And he goes, ah, yes, you were barely big enough to carry your sword. And she's like, I was 14. And he goes, truly? I'd imagined you older. And she goes, I was very mature for my age. I don't remember you saying much. And he goes, I don't remember you saying anything. And she goes, yes, well, father had forbidden me to speak. And Joaquin goes, my uncle told me to kill you first if the talks went wrong. And Forever's like, my father said something similar about you. You were the first person like me I'd ever met. And he goes, you mean another Lazarus? And she goes, yes. They both are silent for a moment before he goes, you've turned into a beautiful woman. And she goes, stop. And he's like, I mean it. And she goes, you haven't changed. It's not that I can see. And he goes, they put me back together a few times since then. I think they make us fight so they don't have to. And as they're silent, just looking out at the landscape, she goes, I don't want to fight you. I don't want to hurt you. And Joaquin goes, families don't understand. She goes, no, they don't. They're about to have a moment as they're leaning in for a kiss. Before they both see the wind coming in from a helicopter as it lands in the courtyard. And he gets up and goes, that will be Uncle. And you see a man stepping out to the courtyard. As we go back to the Los Angeles family Carlisle, back at Jonah's compound, as he goes, I'm telling you, he knows. And Joanna goes, he does not, Jonah, he suspects. And he goes, no, Joe, he fucking well knows, and he's using the Lazarus to be sure. She was seen riding south. If Father was sending her to attack, she'd have taken troops with her. The only reason to send her alone is to parley. And Joanna goes, Jonah, calm down. We're on the brink of war with Moray. All it will take is a breath to kiss the faint flames to life. And you see her stepping out of the pool as Jonah goes, and you're not hearing me, Joanna. He sent forever with a bucket of water. And you see as she's getting dressed, Joanna goes, thank you, Charles. The butler's kind of putting a robe on her. And she goes, my honor, Miss Joanna. And she goes, you're dismissed. And she continues, if Father sent Forever to parley, he's conducting negotiations via back channel. Forever won't compromise family comms. She can't report to Father until she's back in Carlisle territory. So we kill her before she reports back. Blame it on Moray. Father will have no choice but to declare war. Boom, done. And she goes, I mean, really, brother, it's not that hard to track, is it? And he goes, it won't work. She goes, of course it'll work. And he goes, she's our fucking Lazarus. She can't be killed, remember? And Joanna's like, of course she can. She dies like they all do. It's why they wear those silly swords. Just make this pieces small enough and there's nothing left to rebuild. Boom, like I said. Jonah's thinking about this for a minute before he goes, we'd have to hit her the moment she's back in our territory. I'll put Mason on it. He goes, mobilize an assault team and double surveillance along the border. Joanna goes, a sniper and a headshot could solve all our problems, Jonah. And she goes and asks Mason to pay Charles a visit. He heard enough of your tantrum to guess what's going on. And we don't want the waste tallying to Daddy, do we? And you see, as the Forever is meeting with the Moray uncle, you see them inside his very traditional Mexican-looking dining room. And he goes, I am Moray. I am the voice of my family. If your presence is a Carlisle declaration of war, you will certainly be the first of your family to die. We are willing to hear you, Miss Carlisle, because we still remember and respect the Accords of Macau. We respect your father despite all that has happened between our families. But Moray will not be threatened. Moray will not be turned into another Carlisle dog. We will not roll over for you, so before you speak your father's message, this must be made clear. And he goes, but not by far the last. I am Carlisle. Oh, sorry, I went the wrong way with the speech bubbles. The last one should have been, if your presence is a declaration of war, you will be the first of your family to die, but not by far the last. And forever silent for a moment before she goes, I am Carlisle, Mr. Moray. These are the words of my father. He speaks greetings, Edgar, and to your son Brian, and to your radiant bride, Anne Maria, and to the whole of your family. Moray's strength does you honor, but you cannot dine on strength. He says your people starve. Unrest is on the rise from Durango to Mexico City and even further south. By our projections, your domain will face an uprising before the end of the year. At best, you will be weakened. At worst, your domain will fall. My father speaks Carlisle. Speaks Carlisle. Well, that's an interesting name. Offers normalization of trade with Moray. Grain and seed shipments to resume immediately. In exchange, Moray agrees to the following. First, prompt delivery of 18 Tarantula-class interdictors, a second shipment to follow in the same quantity within 6 months. Material, parts, and personnel, including instructors, to be provided, munitions excluded. Second and last, my father speaks, you agree to immediately cease any and all communication with our youngest son Jonah, whose treachery is known to us, as is your collusion with him. This is the Carlisle message to Moray. I am to relay your reply." They're silent for a moment as he confers with his counsel, and he goes, "For the interdictor, 6 months is not enough within the year. Is not enough within the year, possibly. These would be the Mark IVs. Also, your low hydration strains for the grains, including the J733, J73, and J74 variants." And she goes, "The Mark V's delivery as stated, in return for which we grant J73 and K17. He tells his counsel again for a moment before he goes, "Pending testing to prove the strain viable, this is satisfactory." And she goes into the second point, and he replies, "Your brother is as dead to us as he is now to you." Moray agrees. She goes, "Carlisle agrees." And he goes, "Good. Then this business is concluded. Can we persuade you to stay for dinner, Miss Carlisle? At least to share a drink with me and my son?" And Forever goes, "That is very gracious of you, Master Moray. But I'm sure you understand that I must return home as soon as possible." And he comes up and clasps her hand. He's like, "Of course. A pity, but of course. Your father will want to hear about this in person, no doubt. You never know who might be listening." He turns around and looks at Joaquin and he goes, "Lazarus?" He goes, "Yes, uncle." And he goes, "You will see the Carlisle Lazarus safely out of our domain. You will leave at once." And he goes, "Of course, uncle. It will be my pleasure." And you can see the council's just glaring at all of them from across the table as he's watching this. And you see Joaquin in like a little dune buggy escorting Forever on her bike as they're riding down the highway. He kind of motions for them to stop. And she goes, "Is there a problem?" And he goes, "No problem, none at all." And he just says, "GPS says we've just crossed into your family's domain. And since it may be another 5 years before I get to see you again, I thought we might perhaps take a moment." He gets up on top as he pulls out a flask and she goes, "A moment for what?" And he goes, "For sharing a drink of water and a sunset. For saying goodbye." And she grins at him and she goes, "I'd like that," as they watch the sunset together. And they have, "Do you?" And Joaquin's like, "Shh." He's like, "I thought I heard something." And you see a plane flying in from the distance as it shoots off a missile and blows up under the dune buggy with a huge explosion. As we get into chapter 4, we have Southern Sierra Nevada, facility compound Sequoia, family Carlisle, and you have still hasn't moved, population family 3-2 permanent. And you have no, and it's not due to the Moray jamming. I've already counted for that. She just stopped about 3 minutes ago right on the border. You have population served 28, population waste is 0. And you have James and Beth in the little office room with the holographic computer around them as James goes, "Wonder why?" And Beth's like, "Perhaps she's enjoying the sunset, James. Perhaps you should too." And James goes, "Is that an order from the family, Bethany?" And she goes, "Think of it as friendly advice, doctor." And you hear treat, treat, treat as an alarm starts ringing. And they both rush to work and they go, "Trauma alert. Her telemetry's still online. Vitals crashing. Psi at C5 and C6. Her neck's broken. Dislocation. Left shoulder, distal radius, fracture, left wrist. Multiple cracked ribs, penetrating wound, left thigh, missed the femoral." You hear Beth go, "Turn that fucking alarm off." You have James going, "All along her left could be a crash. She was thrown from the vehicle." And Beth goes, "How does she crash if she's not moving? An explosion? If it's an attack? That doesn't make sense. I need to call father." You have James going, "Why would Moray attack her on the way home?" It's like, "Good hit, confirmed, good hit." And you see the little drone flight hovering above the location where they just launched the bomb. And you have Los Angeles facility, Twin Palisades residence. You hear a vehicle destroyed. It's like, "Mason, send them in. Make sure they know what to do." You have family Carlisle, population family 2, population served 76. And you hear, "Yes, sir, Master Carlisle." And Jonah goes, "What's happened to the feed? I want to see it." And you hear, "We're just on the border, sir. Mori's jamming is eating the sat feed. Any closer, the drone won't answer. I can make another pass, but it'll take a couple of minutes." And you see Sonora Desert, Mexico, family Moray Carlisle border contested. And he goes, "I have to be sure." And you see a helicopter coming to land down near the site of the explosion. And you see Forever lying off to the side with a piece of rebar stuck in through her thigh, looking the worse for wear. She's like, ugh. And she's kind of groggily starting to wake up. You see a bunch of soldiers starting to pile out of the helicopter. And you have James going, ribs have fused. SCI regen 97%. Nerve signal propagation restored. She's got her extremities back. And you see Carlisle Forever still kind of groggily waking up. As James goes, "She'll need to reset the wrist herself before I can take." And Beth goes, "Secondary catecholaminé release. Must be reacting to some stimuli." And you see Forever trying to get up slowly as the soldiers are coming up around her. And she goes, "Some threat. Your father, what did he say?" He's like, "Oh, he said," and I quote, "Forever's a big girl. She can take care of herself." You see the soldiers surrounding her as one of them goes, "Get her on her knees." And she goes, "Carlisle, your family." Wait. And you hear Jonah going, "I can't see a fucking thing." You hear, "I'll check the uplink bank. Maybe we can clean up the signal." And you see, as one of the soldiers grabs her by the ponytail and pulls her up. And you have Jonah telling the men going, "Make it quick." And you hear, "Hold her." As the soldiers force her to her knees. And she goes, "Stop." And you see Mason walking off still. As the soldier takes out a sword to her head. And she goes, "Don't do this." And he goes, "Hold her still." And you see Mason coming in to report to Joanna going, "Joanna, Miss Carlisle, the feed went down." And she goes, "I told you I'd take care of it, Mason." And you have Forever going, "I'm giving you an order. I'm Commander Forever Carlisle of the family Carlisle." And you hear, "Now hit me." He's like, "Ma'am?" And she goes, "Don't be a pussy, Mason." And Forever continues, "To disobey me is to die. To strike me is to die. You will release me at once." And Joanna goes, "I'm giving you an order." And you hear, "Keep her still," as the soldier takes the sword over his head. He's ready to strike. And you see Mason kind of just Mason punches Joanna across the jaw. And you hear, It's like, "Now, Joaquin." And you see her Forever pulling the soldiers forward. So the sword goes through one of the other soldiers' head instead of hers. And you hear Joanna goes, "Again, like you mean it." And she pulls the piece of green metal out of her thigh as she rolls to the side. And you see this intercut again with another shot of Mason just punching Joanna straight in the face. And you see Forever taking the piece of rebar and stabbing one of the soldiers through the middle and using him as a shield to cover her from the other soldiers as they're firing bullets on her. And Joanna goes, "Ugh, so not enough. It's gotta look real." And you see, oh my god. And you see as the soldier's getting ready to fire, another piece of metal goes and takes him through the throat. And Joanna continues like Jonah did it. Oh. And you see Joaquin looking like a Terminator or like the Winter Soldier with half his arm, like one of his arms covered in like a sheet of metal. Or that might just be like the exoskeleton under his skin. And you see half his face has been stripped away, kind of like Terminator style. And you see him having this just grin on his face, like the specter of death, as he pulls the sword out of the guy that he just stabbed it into. And you hear, "Son of a..." And you see him and Forever just double teaming as she spins off his back and they just slice into a bunch of soldiers at once. He's like, "Bitch, she's redlining." And you see Forever cutting open one soldier as she fires into another. And as the soldiers are firing at her, and she's laying waste to them around her with her sword. And you see full fight or flight response. And you see Joaquin doing the same, just slashing into soldiers as they're shooting at him. And James goes, "What the hell is going on down there?" And you see Forever slicing into one as she kicks another. And you have Beth going, she's defending herself, James. Look at her saccadic reaction time. It's off the chart. And so it's just beautiful. The adenosine blocker therapy is working better than I'd hoped. And James like, for the love of God, Bethany, somebody's trying to kill your sister. And you see Forever just stabbing behind her. She puts another soldier down. And he goes, she only thinks she's my sister, James. And you have one last soldier left as he's going, Commander, please. He's trying to back away and surrender. And Forever just comes up with a sword. She grabs him. He's like, I was following orders. And she stops for a moment. And then the next panel, she just stabs him through the throat and takes him out. And you see her looking around to make sure she hasn't missed anyone. And you have Jonah's little henchman going, I have signal, good signal. Image should be resolving now. Do you want to make another pass, sir? And he sees the soldiers just dead as Jonah's walking out of the room, and he goes, Master Carlyle, should I make another pass, sir? And you hear, Joe, as he's walking down the hallway. And you see Mason just standing outside the door like a bodyguard. And Jonah's like, it fucking failed. Is she in there? Let me through, Mason. Mason's like, no. He's like, what did you just? Like, damn it, move. Mason goes, your sister says to tell you that if you start running right now, she'll slow the Lazarus down long enough for you to escape. And you see Forever just heading towards the helicopter. And she goes, prep for takeoff. You leave without me and I will carve you open. The pilot goes, yes, ma'am. And she sheathes her sword. She goes back to Hakeem and goes, this was not an attack on Moray, Hakeem. You know that. You know my father would never. And he goes, of course. And he kind of looks away. And he goes, pity about the rover. And she goes, you can take my bike. And he goes, thank you. And they just look at each other one more time before he goes, go well forever, Carlyle. And she goes, go well, Hakeem Moray. As he walks away. And you see the helicopter coming in for landing at Jonah's compound. As Mason comes up and goes, Commander, thank God you're... And she comes and grabs him by the neck and goes, where is he? Where's Jonah? He's like, he's gone. She's like, where's my brother? And she slams him up against the wall. He's like, he's gone. He went after your sister. He went after the Lady Joanna. It's like, he hurt her, Commander. And you see Forever walking to Joanna's room. She's like, Joe? It's like, Joanna, it's me. And you see her going, I tried, but I'm not strong like you. And he wouldn't stop hitting me. And then Mason came and he ran. He's betrayed us, hasn't he? Betrayed the family. Oh, what a duplicitous bitch. And you see her face is just a mess with blackened eyes. And she's got bruising everywhere from where Mason punched her. And you see Forever hugging her as Joanna goes, I'm afraid he'll come back, Forever. I'm afraid he'll hurt me again. And Forever goes, no, Joe, no. I won't let him. And you see Puget Sound, family Carlyle. As you hear, she should arrive there by morning. She asked that Mason accompany her since I couldn't, and I said yes. I don't trust him, sir. He was Jonah's hand for years. And the father goes, I'll have Dave keep an eye on him or Dane keep an eye on him when they arrive. Forever goes, apparently Mason told her that Jonah had deployed soldiers to the southern border. Joanna went to confront him. She says he panicked, was talking about killing me, killing you, taking over the family. He beat her pretty badly before Mason could stop him. I did a preliminary search and one of the dragons is gone. Is it dragons? Yeah. He was tracked flying east before they lost the signal. The father goes, he's running to Hawk. And she asks, shall I pursue? And he goes, not at present. I've been in touch with Edgar Moray. You did well. I'm proud of you. Forever smiles and she goes, thank you, sir. He goes, now I want you to head back to Sequoia. Is that understood, young lady? Get some rest. Make sure James gives you a full examination in the morning. I'm going to need you at your best in the coming months, Forever. Your family is going to need you. And she goes, yes, sir. Good night, sir. As the call is terminated, and you see him just kind of getting up from his desk slowly. As you see Southern Sierra Nevadas, facility, compound Sequoia, family Carlyle, population family 2, and you see Forever heading into a room, which is very sparse, with a very small bed, what looks like a TV on the side, and just a little bit of closet space and a few lockers. And she goes and it looks like she's got an email. And she looks at it and the title is To Carlyle Forever from Unknown. And all the message says is, he is not your father, this is not your family. End of family, chapter 4. And I think this is a good point to probably cut it off. Unless... You know what? There's a little prelude volume after this one, it looks like, so I'm just going to quickly cover that before I end off this stream. So we have Puget Sound family, Carlisle, population family 2, permanent. So she's due home soon. It's like, yes, I have 2 sons and 3 daughters, and only one of them's worth a damn. The one I had built. The one I had you build for me, more precisely. It's like, I find that ironic. Do you find that ironic, James? And you see James accompanying Mr. Carlisle as he goes, honestly, Mr. Carlisle, no I don't. You and your wife conceived 4 children. That's 4 times you threw the genetic dice. You asked me to make you a 5th. You told me precisely what you wanted her to be. And in Forever, you got exactly what you asked for. And you see Forever wearing this night vision mask as she's cut down some people in an Arctic-looking facility. And he continues in every regard. And you see Carlisle and James kind of just sitting down at a bench, overlooking the ocean, as he goes, yes, I did. And yes, she is. And James goes, may I ask you a question, sir? And he goes, you may, James. So, do you love her? And he asks, as her father, you mean? He's like, yes. And he goes, she is this family's defender. My armies are our shield against our enemies, against the other families, but Forever is the tip of my sword. And like the finest blade, she is beautiful, and she is lethal, and she is precise. And I appreciate her for all of those things. And you see Forever again going in, laying waste to some more soldiers in this compound. And you have, but one cannot love an object as one loves a person, James. One does not love a pet the way one loves a child. And you see that Forever just put this compound to flames as it's going up in flames as she takes off her helmet and watches it from the outside. And you have Carlisle continuing, she believes I love her as a father. Like any daughter, she craves that love. That is how I control her. That is enough. And he goes, she's home, leave us. As you see Forever coming back from the mission she just finished as he's climbing down the staircase. And you have her greeting him, and as he goes, it's done? And she goes, yes, Father. The fire will burn for weeks, exactly as you wished. And he watches her for a second before he kisses her on the forehead and goes, good girl. It's almost time for dinner. You know how your mother hates it when we're late. And she smiles and goes, yes, Father. So we have End of Family Prelude. And I will get to Lift later this week as we got through the first run of Lazarus. So again, not too much to go on. Like, I'm definitely enjoying the story and the characters so far. But again, a lot of this first volume was a lot of setup for the greater conflict. So I can't say too much about like my feelings on it thus far. I will say I do love Forever's design. Like I said, ticks off a lot of boxes for me. So that was never going to be in question. I do... what else can I say about this? Because I don't want to get into like too many reviewy things right now until I've had a chance to probably finish the first collection so I can collect more concrete thoughts. That said, the action scenes were definitely the highlight of these first few chapters for sure. They're very well executed and framed and done, and I wish I could have done them more justice when I described them. I hope I did the best I could, and I hope it was enough, but definitely recommend just picking the series up on your own and kind of appreciating the artwork and the details in it. The plot is definitely intriguing, and I can't wait to see where it's going to go from here. I think the only thing that I don't want this spoiled, so if anyone knows the answer, it's just me kind of spitballing here. I wonder if when they speak of family and like brother and sister, I wonder if they mean more in kind of like the mafioso style of like, this is family even if we're not blood related. Because we have Jonah and Joanna calling each other like brother, sister, and all that. So I don't know. It's either that or mistook it as Jonah is not part of the family. He might have married into it, which is why Joanna said forever is the sister. Yeah, that might be it. But yeah, that's the only thing I'm kind of wondering about is that are they actually biologically related, or are they just brother sister in a different sense? But I guess I'll probably have to do a reread of this volume just to kind of figure out the little nitpicky details like that. But apart from that, usually I don't really like a lot of romances either, but I do appreciate how well done the one between Joaquin and Forever was. Like, I like how they gave it the way it was framed. Like, he gave it a history and a lot of like hidden context. I think that was really well done. I think that's what sold me on it more so than other romances that try a little bit too much to kind of force the feelings. So I will say I really appreciated that. It definitely did tug at my heartstrings when they kind of had to say goodbye for each other. I think Joaquin kind of realized that things are just going to start going to shit from there. But definitely hoping we see more of him. Hopefully we will see him in Forever at some point. Get back together. Like I said, I'll try to get to another one of these volume chapters later this week. I'll also try to do my best to get to either Battle Angel Alita or Vinland Saga video today as well. I'm not sure which one, I haven't decided yet. But I'll try to do a little bit of catch up for the rest of the week to catch up to doing the one video a day like I promised. So look forward to that. As always, if you like my content, please do like, comment, subscribe, or recommend it to anyone else you think might like my channel. Until next time, this is Ash. I will talk to you all later.